One, LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, there are many questions in regards to will LeBron stay with LA after this season, right? He is eligible for a contract extension as early as August 4th. That isn't the deadline. That's when he first becomes eligible to sign an extension. It'd be 2 years, $97 million is the max extension that he could get. And there's concerns that if the Lakers don't make a major trade or they don't get Kyrie Irving, that he's not going to sign the extension, that he is instead going to be a free agent, and there is a real possibility that he could leave and go elsewhere to another team. Now, here's the thing. I've been preaching for a while now that there's no worries about that. I don't personally think LeBron was going to sign an extension regardless. I think what he's going to do is do what he did with the Cleveland Cavaliers and do 1+1 deals until he's ready to go elsewhere, whether that's retire as a Cleveland Cavalier or go play with his son when his son becomes eligible in 2025. So I think regardless, the Lakers are going to have him for the long haul because, from a multitude of reasons, right? One, he never went to LA for basketball reasons. When he was a free agent, several years ago, there were plenty of teams that he could have went to, won a championship still, and probably still be a contender, maybe even won multiple championships. He wanted to go to LA for life after basketball. Even back when the whole LeBron to LA thing first started, the whole conversation was that LeBron's going to take somebody else to LA. LeBron's not going to go to LA by himself. So how are the Lakers going to make that work? Paul George is the player that's going to come because Paul George wants to be in LA, and he has no problem playing with just these young guys and then figuring out later because he's home. And the complete opposite happened, right? Paul George ended up re-signing with the Oklahoma City Thunder because he didn't like that the Lakers didn't actually make a trade for him. LeBron James ends up coming by himself, and then the following year they go and trade for Anthony Davis, and they win a championship that year. The Lakers have so much flexibility next year with or without a trade for Russell Westbrook, right? Obviously, the Lakers can make a trade to acquire pieces to help now and get rid of Russell Westbrook, then great. But if no deal comes to fruition, the Lakers aren't going to just trade Westbrook to trade Westbrook. As much as many people want that to happen, you don't want to ruin your flexibility. Because what if Kyrie really does leave the Brooklyn Nets next year? And now you have all these long-term contracts to where you can't sign him. And now LeBron just leaves because you can't sign anybody. I don't think LeBron's leaving because where is he going to go, right? All the teams that could sign him outright, they don't have the money to sign him. All the teams that he would want to go to, how many of them are going to trade for a 39-year-old LeBron James? Because you have to match salaries, you have to do all those things. And on top of that, you would also be hard capped in a sign and trade deal. So those teams would have to, one, match salaries, and on top of matching salaries, they wouldn't be able to add any players to elevate their team. So you basically need to make a deal that makes you a contender, makes LeBron happy enough to sign a long-term extension and deal with you, and give the Lakers back what they want. And any trade that the Lakers don't like, they just don't have to trade him. They could force LeBron to re-sign if he wants, because he's not going to sign a taxpayer mid-level or a vet minimum deal. One, he's always said he would never do that. And two, you can't be a top 5 player and sign a deal like that. He's about his legacy. He's not going to ruin his legacy by signing a minimum deal and just so he could get away from the Lakers. Not going to happen. He has too much going on with the Lakers outside of that. But to further validate my point of LeBron's not going anywhere, there was a report today from Marc Stein that said LeBron James isn't leaving the Lakers unless it's to go play with Bronny James, which is exactly what I've been saying and preaching for some time. LeBron's on the Lakers for at least the next 2 to 3 years, bare minimum. And then very likely he will go and play with Bronny James the last year or two of his career, and that will be that. The Lakers don't have to worry about LeBron James leaving. If they really believed LeBron James was leaving, don't you think they would do whatever it took to keep him around? Don't you think that they would trade whatever they had to trade to get back whoever LeBron James wants to get back in order for him to stay and sign an extension? Of course they would. It's LeBron James. But they know, just like, the reports know, just like I've been saying, where is he going to go? There is nowhere for him to go. All the teams that will have cap space next year aren't contenders. Is he going to go to Detroit? Is he going to go to the Pacers? Where is he going to go? And is he going to go to Spurs? None of those teams are going to be able to put pieces together to make him a contender immediately. And there's no big marquee free agents next season that LeBron can recruit to the Spurs, right? Let's say the Spurs do a salary dump. they sign LeBron James and they're like, okay, pick another star, we'll sign him. They can't even do that because there aren't any. All of them signed extensions and stuff already. So LeBron doesn't have a pool to go to. And all the teams that could trade for him, one, how many of them are going to trade a bunch of stuff to get LeBron James for maybe a year or two? Because everyone knows he wants to go play with Bronny, right? And after that following season, Bronny becomes eligible and then he's going to leave and go. So who's going to trade for a 39-year-old LeBron James that you'd only have for a year? You know, like it's not going to happen. And you're hard capped. Like LeBron has nowhere to go. He went to LA and he knows this stuff. He's not stupid. You know, he's probably not signing an extension regardless. He'll probably do a 1-for-1 deal. And he would be silly to sign an extension now because if he becomes a free agent, the Lakers, if they, depending on what they do, but let's say they stand pat and they keep Westbrook for a year. If LeBron doesn't sign an extension, the Lakers would have like $80 to $100 million next year. That means you could go sign Kyrie and somebody else and then give LeBron James all the money that's left. So instead of LeBron signing like, say, a $97 million contract, he signs like an $80 million a year contract. You go sign Kyrie, and then you go sign like a mid-tier guy, right? And now you have like your third and fourth option. Perfect, beautiful. Or maybe you go and sign a guy like Miles Turner and Kyrie Irving, and then LeBron takes like, a $50 million deal. Perfect. He's still making, $25 million a year. He's still making enough money to where it's like, okay, like he's still a top guy, all that stuff. And you got a starting five of Kyrie, LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Miles Turner, and then, Austin Reeves or whoever at that point. At that point, who cares? You have a stacked team. So it's just LeBron's best interest would be to not sign the extension. Or if he signs the extension, sign an extension for a smaller deal. LeBron's going to wait this out, and the Lakers know that. Like I said, LeBron, he's smart. He knows how this works. He knows how to put pressure on organizations, all that stuff. We heard the report that he's trying to put pressure and he wants Kyrie and all that stuff, and he's not going to sign an extension. If the Lakers were really that concerned of LeBron leaving, they would do whatever it took to keep LeBron. But they know he's not going anywhere. LeBron doesn't have a ton of options out there. And his businesses, his family, everything is out here. Why would he want to leave LA right now? Now, like I said, if it's good to go play with his son, it makes sense. He gets to be wherever his son's at. They get to live together, all that stuff. And he kind of, he gets to, make history, gets to be the first father-son duo. Hopefully LeBron is still at a somewhat high level of play at that point. I mean, judging off of what we've seen so far, it's not out of the realm of possibility to believe otherwise. It's just, it makes all the sense in the world for LeBron to just stand pat. The Lakers would have more money than most of the teams in the league. And you're in a good spot. At that point, you tell LeBron, go pick, who do you want? You want to sign Kyrie? Do you want us to try to maybe go trade for somebody? Or do you want to do with Anthony Davis? And now we're not just signing vet minimum guys. There's, these handful of guys that we could all pay $10 million to. And now we have just a deep stack team with you and Anthony Davis. How do you want to approach this? It opens so many doors, so many options. I don't see LeBron going anywhere. And the report today says he's not going anywhere until it's to go play with his son, which is what we've always thought. So it's just further validation. That's why I wanted to make the video, because I made a video talking about this the other day, and there's still a concern, of course, but it's just validation on everything I've been saying, because it's true. There's nothing left out there for LeBron. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think, where is LeBron going to go? How is this going to work? Do you think LeBron's just, trying to put pressure because he wants his buddy Kyrie? Lakers will figure it out, whether it's Kyrie, whether it's Miles Turner, Buddy Hield deal, whatever. I do think the Lakers make a trade. I think they do make a deal at some point, whether it's Turner, Hield, or it's for Kyrie. We still are a month away before anything drastic has to happen. So we're still a little over a month away before training camp even begins. So the Lakers have options. LeBron's smart. He's going to stay patient. They have a solid squad already. I don't think they're a contender, but I think that they're better than they were last year. And, Anthony Davis and LeBron James, you get them into the playoffs, you can't roll them out. Again, I'm not saying that they're a contender, but you at least got a puncher's chance with the dominant Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And even if we get Kyrie or, we do the Turner and Hield deal, whatever, Anthony Davis is the key regardless, because he's the ultimate mismatch. When he's at an MVP level, he is so insanely dominant. It's not fair. The Lakers are in a good spot. And this roster looks like a team that's ready to make a move. And I do think that they're going to do some sort of deal, whatever that'll be. LeBron will be happy. LeBron will be content. Even if you get the Hield Turner deal, you're still likely a contender. You're still better than most teams. I mean, Dallas made it to the Western Conference Finals this past year. And all the teams in the West, none of them looked like world beaters. None of the teams were the Warriors with Golden State. Even the Warriors this year, even though they won the championship, they still looked beatable. They still looked vulnerable. Lakers have size. They have everything. I just think that they're like a piece or two away. Whether that's Kyrie Irving and like a Joe Harris or it's Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, either way, I think they're right there. And I don't think LeBron's leaving. But anyway, again, however you feel about it, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.